Americans are working two jobs and are still broke. Let's dive into it. Hey guys, welcome to the channel, Frank Talks Money. Real quick, I just need one favor, guys, just one favor. If you get any value out of this video, please remember to smash that like button. The more likes the video receives, the more the algorithm will share the video with more like-minded people like you and me. Now let's dive right into the content. Guys, today in 2025, more Americans are working two jobs than ever before. The number of Americans working two or more jobs has reached its highest level since the start of the pandemic. New federal data shows a trend that suggests more Americans are feeling inflation's pinch. Nearly 8 million people held multiple jobs in October 2024. The Labor Department reported last week they represent 5% of the workforce, the largest share of moonlighters ever since January of 2020. Employment statistics show that women represent about 6% of individuals working two jobs, compared with 4% men. Roughly 5 million Americans held one full-time job and one part-time job. Nearly 2 million held two part-time gigs along with their full-time gig. Another 1 million said they held jobs where the hours varied. Fewer than 400,000 held two full-time jobs. That's interesting. I was listening to a podcast this morning on my way to work, guys, and they were talking about Americans working two part-time jobs. And I basically said, the hell with that. I've never worked two jobs, and hopefully by God's grace, I'll never have to work two full-time jobs or even a full-time plus a part-time. The share of Americans working multiple jobs reached 5% in the summer of 2023, then plunged at the beginning of 2024, and then started to increase at the end of 2024, going into 2025. Experts say people may be taking on extra work in response to inflation, high interest rates, and the rise in costs in goods and services. Guys, if you're still here, hit that like button for me, guys. Guys, if you're still here, smash that like button for me, please. Thank you. Inflation over the last couple years has outpaced wage growth, which has given much pain to the American citizen. So guys, like I said, I was on my way to work this morning, and I was listening to a podcast, and they was actually talking about working two jobs. And people were saying, you know, I was looking through the comments, and individuals were saying, you know, you got to do what you got to do. If you got to work 80 hours a week, work 80 hours a week. If that's what you got to do to support your family and put food on the table and things of that nature. If that's what you got to do to survive, you got to work two jobs, three jobs, you got to do what you got to do. I'll say the hell with that. I'm not working two jobs. I'm not working a second job. I'm just not. If I am not making enough on job one, I am going to be out here looking for my next job one to replace job one that I am not making enough money on at to survive. I'm not working 80 hours a week. I'm not working 70 hours a week. I'm not working 60 hours a week. I'm on salary right in my current job, in my career right now. We are required to work 50 hours a week. And I'll be honest, I fall between 45 and 50 hours a week. That's where I fall. Some weeks I may do 47. Some weeks I may do 48. I may hit a week at 50. I may have a week at 46 and a half. But if I'm required, if my job requires me to be there to where if I'm short staffed, there's things going on that I need to handle, I'll be there later. But I'm not going over 50. I'm not doing it. I am not working over 50 hours a week because I'm going to make sure I do my job in those allotted hours so I'm not giving the company free time, you know? So people can have this, people can have this way of life that you got to do what you got to do. You got to work 2 jobs. You got to work 3 jobs. That's what you got to do. You know what? I'm just not doing that. Life is too short for me to be working 2 jobs. Life is too short for that. I'm going to enjoy my life. You know, when people are working 2 jobs and they're still broke, that's a problem. That's a problem that they have. They're not willing to save. They're not willing to invest. They're not willing to cut their spending. They're not willing to budget. So if you go out, a second job is not always the answer. It's the answer if you don't want to do any of the items I just mentioned, if you don't want to save, if you don't want to invest, if you don't want to budget, if you don't want to get your spending under control, then I guess going and working a second job is for you. But I'll never get myself in that position. I've never worked a second job in my life. And like I said, hopefully if I keep stay on top of my finances the way I've been on top of my finances the last 15 years, with God's grace, hopefully I'll never be in a position to where I have to work a second job. And I can tell you, if it's more than likely it's going to be up to me making the right decisions financially. So I could probably sit here and say, I'll never be working a second job because I'm just not going to ever put myself in that type of financial situation to where I need to rely on a second job. Just not. Other individuals can work 2, 3 jobs if they want, but that's not for Frank. Never was for Frank, and it'll never be for Frank in the future. Because I'm going to make sure if I can't survive on job 1, then I'm going to go look for job 1 to replace the job that I have. I'm not going to go out and work a second job. I like enjoying life. I like enjoying time with my family, my children, my grandchild. About to have my second grandchild any day now. Life is too short, and there are things and there are memories that I want to keep growing, keep having, keep establishing with my family. I don't have time to work a second job. I just don't. And if people would, and if these people that's working these second jobs would just curb their spending, get out of debt, save an emergency fund, and start investing, they wouldn't have to work a second job. It's just that simple. But people don't want to live below their means. They want to continue this high life, continue living above their means, so they can put on this show and try to impress the Joneses, the Smiths, and the Wilsons. If you got to work a second job to do that, then you are all messed up in the head. You got other problems to deal with. Because I am not doing that, and I am not working a second job. So guys, that's my rant. That's my talk about individuals working second jobs and are still broke. So please remember to like the video, share the video, and most important, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, Frank Talks Money. And with that, guys, always remember, financial decisions you make today will impact your financial life tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Frank Talks Money. I am out.